A very good morning to everybody. I welcome all of you to 23rd of August. Let's discuss today about what is the goal of our life. All of us strive for happiness in our life at any cost, whatever we do, but the final goal of everybody is to get happiness, joy. Whether we read our academics, then we aspire to get a lot of money and to have a comfortable life, or somebody wants a more evolved life away from this materialistic world, whatever it is. But the final goal in everybody's life is to gain happiness or joy, because that is our Swarupa. Sukha is the Swarupa of our own self. So hence, everybody knowingly or unknowingly strive for happiness. Nobody wants sorrow. To remain happy is the goal of all our life. But do we all really get that state of mind? Perhaps not. The answer being, our mind and senses, they do not allow us to get this permanent joy which we search for. But the irony is that we search for permanent joy and happiness among the impermanent objects and materials, which are absolutely temporary. So how can we get that permanent joy and happiness amidst the impermanent world of object called this materialistic life? Because our mind and sense organs, they drag all of us towards this world where we get pleasure, a temporary happiness, momentary happiness, but not permanent. So it gives us joy for a temporary period, that is pleasure. So when we get that pleasure, slowly we desire, thinking that it is the joy, happiness that I am searching for. So we run towards that. So we develop attachment. Time and again, when we think about it, then a desire comes to gain that. If the desire is fulfilled, we get some temporary joy or pleasure. If not, then it leads to anger, frustration, and sorrows. So, having understood all these things, when someone who controls his mind and sense organs, because mind is the master of that. So if he develops himself to control by his viveka, vichara, his intellect, by surrendering to our guru, by reading shastras, so when he develops his intellect and then becomes successful to control his mind, then the realized soul evolves himself and devotes his mind at a higher goal, at a higher altar, that is at God. Free from all the attachment and sensuous joys and all, he remains absorbed in the devotion of Lord. He gets the grace of Lord. So that is called the path of, there are many paths to reach that ultimate goal or the Lord. So among those many paths, path of devotion or bhakti yoga is one. Bhagavad Gita is a text of 5,000 years old, which has inspired generation after generation of Indians and all the people in the world to aspire excellence and achieve it, and to establish a culture which is unstable, Each chapter contributes to the well being of all of us in some way or the other. We should read it, understand, and implement that in our life. Only reading or keeping that in puja room is not enough. The Gita imparts practical knowledge to us, to the common people. For that, we need not go away somewhere to learn. Remaining inside our house, in drawing room, in our office also, we can learn the Gita and implement that in our life. So Gita is really a handbook which gives us the tips to lead a successful life. So how to control our mind and sense organs already we discussed in chapter 2, and to become a evolved personality. So out of many paths like Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Karma Yoga, many paths are there, but all paths ultimately lead us to that altar, the altar of God. So it is said that Bhakti Yoga is the easiest in this Kali Yuga. Bhakti Yoga is easiest for the people who are staying in this world of objects. So even in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Himself tells it is the topmost yoga as well as the easiest one, as confirmed in the Gita. Lord Krishna says that, and of all yogis, one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders loving service to me, is most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. So it is one of the best paths to be adopted to become one with the Lord. Yoga means to be united with the Lord. So Bhakti Yoga, the 12th chapter, God has told kind of bhakti or the characteristics of a bhakta. There are 9 processes in Bhakti Yoga. All of us we know: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dashyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. Bhakti is very dear to the Lord. We all know the story of Lord Krishna and Vidura. Duryodhana wanted to serve all Rajakiya Prasad, lot many to the Lord. But Lord Krishna went to Vidura, and Vidura's wife, she fed Lord Krishna with lot of devotion, and not even banana, the skin of banana, and Lord takes it. There are plenty of stories where Lord loves his bhakta. Now the question is, Lord loves, in the 12th chapter, Lord gives us the characteristics of a bhakta whom Lord loves the most. So should we not know whom Lord loves the most? Should we not try to at least adopt 1 or 2 qualities of those bhaktas in order to be dear to our God? Each day we do puja, we offer prasad to my Lord, we do all these things. So let us learn that how we can be at least 1 step nearer to the Lord. It is told that if we move towards the Lord 1 step, Lord comes 10 steps towards us. So in the Bhagavad Gita, 13th and 14th verse of the 12th chapter tells us about the qualities in a bhakta. There are many other verses also, but here Lord says himself, Atvesta Sharva Bhutanam Maitra Karuna Evacha Nirmamo Nirahankaraha Shamadukha Shukhakshami Santusta Shatatam Yogi Yatatma Dridha Nischayah Mayyarpitamano Buddhihi यो मद्भक्त समे प्रियः, यो मद्भक्त समे प्रियः. This kind of a bhakta is very dear to me. Lord declares it. Advesta sarvabhutanam, one who is free from advesta means hatred, unhatredness, no hatredness. For sarvabhutanam, for every prani, every living being. Maitraha, friendshipness with everybody. Karuna, compassionate for everyone. Evacha, thus. Nirmamo nirahankaraha, free from attachment. Nirmamo, no mama. So no attachment and possession. Nirahankaraha, free from ego. Sama, equipoised. When? In distress also, happiness also. Sukha dukkha. Kshami means forgiving, one who is forgiving by nature. All the good qualities God has told. Santustaha, he should be contented. Satatam, not sometimes, now and next time or santushta, no. Continuously, steadily. Yogi, united in devotion with the Lord. Yatatma, that self, controlled self. Drudha nischaya, firm in conviction. Whoever comes and tells also, his drudhata is not going to move away. He arpitaha, he dedicates himself to me, to the higher goal, to that supreme self. Mana buddhi, not only his mind, but by buddhi also. Yaha, who? Madbhakta, he is dear to me. So those devotees are very dear to me, who are free from hatredness towards all living beings, who are friendly, compassionate, free from attachment and possession and egotism, equipoised in happiness and distress, ever forgiving. They are ever contented, steadily united with the Lord in devotion, self-controlled, firm in conviction, and dedicated to me in mind and intellect. So all these qualities anyone develops is very dear to Lord among all his devotees. Lord himself loves him the most. So free from hatred towards all living beings. In short only, I'll just say, all living beings being tiny parts of God. He sees God in every living being, that same supreme soul in all the living beings. Prani matreka se bhagavananku darshan karithae. If they have envy towards anybody, they hate anyone, then ultimately they hate the Lord. They think in that way. So for that reason, they have no hatred for anybody in the world. They are friendly and compassionate, feeling of unity amongst all the living beings by virtue of their being children of God. They are all God ka santana. So they have friendship and they are compassionate towards everybody. There is no partiality. Free from attachment and possession. Just now we were discussing, because they have understood how to establish themselves in their own self, establish themselves in the higher goal. Should they free themselves from all kinds of attachment, from the play of mind and sense organs. So they don't have any pride or proprietorship for whatever they possess or they do in this world. Everything they surrender to the Lord. It is his prasada buddhi, they receive everything. They remain equipped in happiness also, distress also. Happiness does not make them too much excited, or sorrows does not break their heart. So they accept it as God's will. As prasada buddhi, they accept whatever comes across. They do not become too much excited or sorrowful. Ever forgiving. They forgive everybody. Kshama is the greatest quality of sadhus or sthita pragyas, or all of us can adopt. Anything anybody might have done doesn't matter. Little bit we become angry, okay, but let us forgive. Forgiving is the greatest nature which is liked by the Lord. Keeping negative thoughts towards anybody ruins our own devotion for God, because always we ramble in that thought. How can we have devotion for the Lord? So, devotees refuse to have unforgiving thoughts in all circumstances, and they leave punishing by the Lord. If anything happens, they say, God will take care. Who am I? So always forgiving. Ever contented. Not that they do not have, that's why contented. In spite of having everything also, amidst that, they always think of the higher goal. Ever contented. Whatever paristhiti, parivesha, they are always santa, contented, self-controlled, because their attachment is to that ultimate higher goal, not for all these small things. For that reason, control, self-control, atma sanjami, firm conviction. They are intellectually firm. It's not only mind, but intellectually they are firm. They gain knowledge from scriptures. They read scriptures and they surrender unto the Guru. So Guru Bhakya and Shastra Bhakya, they are fully convinced whoever, whatever comes, that cannot little bit also move him away. So firm conviction in the devotion of Lord. They dedicated to the God in mind as well as intellect. Sometimes we are passionate about something, suppose passionate about music, but unless we intellectually understand where to use and take, where to give a direction to my passion, then it may be wrong. My passion about music or dance or any other thing, if intellectually I don't give that passion a particular direction, then I may go in a wrong way. For that reason, God is telling only devotion by mind is not enough. So, Shastra, Guru, and intellect. So, let us fully by intellectually and mentally both way, and dedicated to the Lord, surrender both mind and intellect. They are very firm in their path. Nothing in the world can move them away from their path. So once both mind and intellect they devote, they understand what they are doing, why they are doing. So then all body, senses and all naturally, automatically follow the intellect and get dedicated in his service. So such devotees are Madbhakta Samet Priyaha. So all these qualities seem to be very difficult, but among all these we can try to adopt at least 2-3. We can we can forgive everybody. We can control our mind and senses to some extent, and we can have so many other qualities which are little easy for all of us to follow in our life. So though it seems to be difficult, but it is a sadhana. We can all do sadhana to achieve some of these qualities, so that God Himself is going to love all of us. Hari. So last 23rd July I started. It was a Sankalpa. Today is 23rd of August and it is completed today 1 month. So hereafter, every Thursday and every Monday, these 2 days, we are going to have our vichara or thought for a week, and we will try to continue this journey, whatever little bit possible on our part, towards a higher goal. Hari Om.